Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic called APIs. So let's take a moment and understand what APIs are and how does it work and what are the examples and what we as a QA, how do we use APIs or how do we do API testing on a high level. So let's talk about all these in a high level and coming to the first point, what is an API? So by this time, if you have already if you have Googled about API and if you are a little confused about what it says by looking all the technical terms over the internet, just keep everything aside and focus on what we are talking currently. So API is nothing but it's an application program interface. How does it work? It, as we already said, it the name itself says it is an interface, right? In how does it work is it is all about requests and responses between the client and server. Now you want something, you request for something, so there is a way it gets carried to the server and you get the response back from the server. So it's all about you requesting and getting some response from the provider. So when you compare it with the real world examples, just let's pause for a second and compare it with the real world examples. You go to a restaurant, you sit at your table and you choose that you need ABC. You will have your waiter coming up and taking taking a note of what you want. So you tell him that you want ABC. So in this case you are requesting something, some good food, ABC is your request. He then carries this to your kitchen, to the kitchen, and he responds back with ABC. He gets and serves you food. Now in this case, who is your interface, like in between you and the kitchen, is your waiter. It's his responsibility to carry the request from you and go to the kitchen, make sure that it's getting done, and once it is ready, he gets back to you as a response. So he is acting as an interface in between. Just think of this like this is the basic practical example. And keeping this aside, when coming to the software world, another important example that we can relate this is your a booking system, like travel booking systems. So for example, take Kayak, the biggest online site for booking tickets, right? Flight tickets. Now you enter your source, you enter your destination. Once you select dates and click on search, what are you getting back? You get back the results from different airlines. Okay, from United, from Qatar, from Air India, all the availability and fare information, you're getting it back. Now, how is Kayak communicating with all these airlines? There must be some way that these airlines are actually exposing details to Kayak. So they are talking in the background. So they are, it means that all these airlines are exposing some level of information to Kayak, right? Only then it can display. Now that's all the talking, whatever is happening, it's through APIs. So these are the two real world examples. Now why do, see, I have a software, why do I have to expose it, right? So if you take an example, right, just the best example that we can think of is Uber. Just see, like just click Uber, sign up and see. So this page opens up, it gives you an ability to log in or continue with Facebook and Google. We already have an account. So in this case, Google and Facebook are also exposing some level of users information, right? There is an agreement between Uber and Google that has already happened. That's the reason it is letting you to sign up with Google or Facebook. So they're talking, the APIs, whatever they're exposing, Google is exposing some level of information to Uber, saying that the user information. So all these API talking, why is it happening, guys? If you think of it, right, uh, there is nothing like, if I expose an API, okay, free API, it's not that I'm exposing all the information. There is definitely, like, I have my own criteria, like what level of information that I should expose to my user or to the outside world. So I tie that information and I just expose it. Now people use it. Now tomorrow they want some extra level of information. Now they come for me and ask me for that. Now will I give it for free? No. Why should I give it for free? That's when I charge. Based on the demand, I do make money out of my extra services like premium services, etc. So it all happens. And also, like, when you talk, think in the development perspective, right? he if Uber, now Uber doesn't have to write everything. Like Uber have an ability, if you have ever used Uber, it has an ability to share location where it uses Google Map API there. So in this case, now Uber has to focus on what it is actually doing, rather than already existing functionality it can just plug and play, and you use it as such. So it, in this way, the efficiency, there is no rework or reinvestment of time to develop the same functionality. So that's how, like people expose some level of APIs to the outside world, and some of them will be charged based on how you are using it, etc. Now when you say that APIs are so important, we have to know what APIs are there. Like SOAP is, like, has been used since many years, but these days it's all about REST, representative state transfer. So it's a REST service. If you just go to any job portal and just click on REST API automation tester or REST assured testing jobs, there are tons out there. So there is a vast demand for this area. So definitely it's of course it's very very interesting also. So it's a great need for us to understand completely about what these are and how they work. So representative state transfer is kind of API which is actually efficiently being used by many companies like Yahoo, eBay, Amazon, Google. So when we talk about it, right, like when such big companies are using, definitely, like they have already transitioned from SOAP to REST. It means that REST is in high demand now. Why is it in demand? Is, like there are few advantages from the development perspective. If we think, right, data formats, REST supports a number of data formats. The most important ones are XML and JSON. So the way the request is sent and how we read the response, there's a specific format. SOAP always uses XML format, whereas REST uses like JSON, etc., and XML very widely. Now because JSON is being used, JavaScript object notation, it's a form of representation. If you just click on JSON formats on Google, you will see, like objects will be inverted commas followed by the parameters, etc. So whatever the key value pairs. So just Google it, and for your understanding, look at it. We'll go deep into how it looks like in the next session. But JSON is a way of communication. It's a format which is being used for the information exchange, like request versus response. Now because JSON has many advantages, like it is used for faster parsing. So in this way performance is really good. So that's the reason all the big companies are using JSON formats. And as we already discussed, like Yahoo, eBay, Amazon, and whatnot, like these days you pick any fast growing company, they all are using REST services. Now what is there for us to test, right? So information, we are talking about information interchange. Like we ask something, we get response. Now there is a huge need for us to make sure that we are requesting what we are requesting, what we are getting is matched, right? If we are requesting for some information, we have to make sure that the response is correct. That's where QA or API tester comes into picture. It is our responsibility to make sure that every request is getting proper responses. So this can be done either manually or automation. There are a number of tools available out there. The best one is REST assured. So REST assured comes as a jar. We'll talk more about it, and it allows us to do API automation. So this is, like high level overview of what an API is. So we'll learn more about this in the coming classes. Until then, happy testing, guys. Talk to you in the next session. Bye bye.